you for joining us for Woke Moments, a conversation on issues and hot topics impacting young generations. My name is Janet Kelly, and I am the Executive Director of Sanctuary of Hope, as well as your host. So now let's jump into a moment of awakening.
Woke Moments!
Hello everyone, this is Janet Kelly, Executive Director, Sanctuary of Hope. I'm in the car right now, driving on my way from our South LA location in the Crenshaw Adams area to our Hawthorne location in the South Bay to drop off some hand sanitizers, sanitation wipes, as well as some masks for the participants who are coming in for essential services at our location. It's very interesting right now because normally on a day like this, I can't really hop on the 10 freeway and go to the 405 because the traffic is so backed up. But literally right now, traffic is really good. Not that many people on the freeway, so driving is going to be a blast, a breeze getting there. It has taken anywhere almost an hour, and so if I have the choice of hopping on the freeway or taking the streets, I would literally take the streets and do the stop and go as opposed to being on the freeway and not experiencing the catastrophe of what the 405 will look like. And see, we're about to get on the 405 now, and it's pretty clear. It's moving. But I know a lot of people are driving and walking frustrated, and that's what kind of gets me. It's like I was in Albertsons on, I can't remember what day it was. It was in the morning, so I don't know if it was like a Friday morning or whatever. And so this lady, like this gentleman, just walked past her, and then she started screaming at the top of her lungs how she needed 6 feet. And he's like just literally walking past her, and she's like, literally, when I'm saying she's screaming how she needs 6 feet, I think this whole kind of COVID pandemic has gotten people a lot of antsy, and I think some people are more antsier than others. But I also think that this pandemic is really shining a light on a lot of things that every day that people don't think about. Like, for example, the article that came out on CNN about African American, especially particularly African American males, not wanting to wear a mask because we're either approached by law enforcement or approached by people in general because they were wearing masks. And even before the COVID-19, before there was an order to wear masks, there were posts like, Black men can't go out, just walk out here and wear masks like that because people haven't got past their Negro phobia or their Black phobia. And how Black phobia, Negro phobia, however anyone wants to call it, is something that's real. And everyone who wears a mask, some people wear it with privilege of knowing that, although it is a cloth of protection, but also for others, they can encounter either arrest or they can encounter a not so pleasant engagement with law enforcement. So, these are things that you really get to learn a lot about, and even the issues around the health disparities of who's dying with COVID and how I believe I read an article yesterday. This one African American lady went to the hospital and she was seeking to get help, but she didn't have insurance, so she was denied access. And it's not just her. There was many people who just haven't had insurance who've been denied access to health care, believing that they either had COVID or were experiencing some other symptoms. And it makes you really, really rethink what we need to do about our healthcare system so that everyone is covered and can feel that at any point in time that if they're ill, they're sick, they could seek health services. So we're learning a lot. We are learning a whole lot right now. Well, COVID-19 has really made our whole organization recalibrate, really determine what it is that we can do, how we can best effectively serve vulnerable youth populations, because unlike most everyday businesses where either people are going in for groceries or doing some type of monetary exchange in order to get a need met, we're actually doing services. And so for us, it's, I wouldn't say being creative, but figuring out how to best meet the needs of young people who are coming in for basic needs, whether it's, toilet paper, to water, to having access to food, to addressing them losing their employment, because many of them are, although they're the first hired, they're in industries where they're entering employment for the first time, whether that be retail or the restaurant industry, and they're not working. So finding ways to, one, get them rapidly re-employed elsewhere, and also getting them connected to employment benefits. And that has been a challenge right now. And so we've just pretty much had to recalibrate and figure out how we could best serve people. And I think the biggest recalibration for us was putting together infrastructure to virtually connect and exchange information and address the social isolation that some of our young people have experienced, to let them know that, one, this is a period in time, or historic period in time, that we are going to get past, but at the same time, we all have to be responsible. And it's part of the life skills learning of, you have to stay in, you have to wash your hands, and these are the things that you need to do to get back on your feet once this period is over. But in the meantime, we're here to help you, and these are the ways in which we can help you. So it's been a challenge, but it's been also a good way for us to learn how to think critically and respond in a crisis. Because I think when a lot of nonprofits, when they write their disaster plans, we write our disaster plans based off of if we're going to have an earthquake or if there's going to be a flood. And so none of our disaster plans include anything associated with a pandemic. So this has really taught us a lot about even reviewing our own operations and protocols around disaster planning. So it's been an eye-opener. I would say the last couple of weeks we've been really successful, and thanks to a lot of compassionate and caring landlords, we've been able to move an average of 5 young people into permanent housing a week, and today we're moving in 2. So that's very exciting to know. So the opportunity is there, and I think a lot of it has to do with the young people that we're currently moving in are linked to housing subsidy. And because they're linked to a housing subsidy, it gives landlords a bit of comfort in knowing that their funds are going to come because young people are getting housed. Now, for those who are not linked to some type of housing subsidy, I think the challenge is a little bit more greater, because as I've started seeing in a lot of the applications where people are applying, and this is just not just the young adults that we work with, but just people in general, those applications are asking whether or not people actually have income, if they're currently being impacted by COVID, all of those things that you would not think would be in a housing application, but is. So I don't quite understand it. But I know that that's going to be a challenge for some people who particularly are not going to be able to demonstrate, especially if they're receiving some form of unemployment right now, their ability to take on a rent obligation. So I think we're going to see a lot of housing insecurity, a lot of it right now, a lot of instability around housing. One, because people are losing their jobs, or they're being furloughed from their employment. And then the other is even once this COVID pandemic crisis passes, a lot of people are going to be racked with a lot of debt, and how to overcome that debt as well as manage, your basic needs, your basic household is going to be a strain. So I don't think the recovery time is going to be as quick as one would hope it would be. So our goal is to ensure that we're here, we're able to help as much as we can, but a lot of that is really going to be based on how well philanthropy invests in the work that we do as well. Because if philanthropy isn't there to help in the investment of our work, there's going to be a lot of needs going unmet. I would say what people could do is really look at your finances. And now is the time where you need to start financial planning, or you start addressing what's going to make you financially healthy after this pandemic is over. Even once you get that first stimulus check, if you are among those who are going to get stimulus check, what are you going to do with it, and how are you going to manage it so you could be financially healthy? So it's all of those things. Even right now, I just even think of myself. It's how even during this time, I've become so extra frugal. Frugal in how I'm purchasing groceries and making my groceries last over a week's period or 2 weeks period, because I have a larger household that I'm responsible for. But also at the same time, managing too, even not my budgets, but my financial obligations of what I have to pay out. And so centering kind of your mindset around that, I think will be helpful too, but not looking at your financial planning as an overwhelming kind of feat, but looking at it as an opportunity to kind of plan and put together steps to make sure that your finances are going to be in good shape over a period of time. It may not be directly after the COVID period, but it will be. It'll recover over time. My woke moment about COVID-19 is this is a period of time, and it's a period. A period means that it's at the end of the sentence, and the fact that it's at the end of the sentence, that a new sentence is about to begin. So that's my woke moment.
All right. This is Lawrence here. I am the life coach over at Sanctuary of Hope in Hawthorne. Basically just giving you an update on what's going on in my life, and as well as my work life about the COVID-19. Me, myself, I'm just staying safe, keeping a mask on, washing my hands, trying to reach out to as many youth as I can to keep them up to date on what's happening with the program, and also asking them what they need as far as necessities and things like that during this crisis. As far as work is going, this has a bit of a halt and a damper on working and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a little slow, but still trying to stay in there, hang in for the good fight, man, deliver the services that we can deliver here at Sanctuary of Hope. Oh man, changes that I've seen in LA is people are actually conscious about, what they're doing. Some people are doing the extra step and helping others as far as like getting them up to date on COVID-19 procedures, as far as like how to stay safe and social distancing and things like that. People are also starting to help more people during this time, as opposed to back in before COVID-19 started. People really didn't like help at all, and now it's like people are showing a little bit more care toward each other, and definitely practicing good hygiene. It impacted me in a way that made me really think about what was going on around me. Before, I didn't really, coming from the healthcare background that I have, I was, of course, up to date on like washing hands and things like that. But this pandemic really made me look at what was happening around me, as far as like, it made me a lot more nervous about viruses and things like that, and just keeping myself safe. So it made me tighten up my game about everything. When I put a mask on, I have noticed that since I'm like 6'2", really big guy, law enforcement as well as other people in my environment, tend to look at me that's just something I think that us as a people going to have to start really just being aware of and just dealing with, because you stay safe. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless of what people think about you, or, what type of attitude they have towards you, your life is on the line at this point. So I would just say bear and grit it. You know what I mean? Just kind of like don't really even care about what's going on. Just cover yourself and make sure you're safe. From what I'm getting from the youth, of course, they're nervous. They're nervous about what's happening. They're nervous about if services are going to still be provided. They're just nervous. So my job would be to just ensure them and let them know that, we're working with them, we're keeping everything going as best as we can, and just to hang in there, because these kids are really just, they up in the air right now because they don't, they're coming from a background where they don't have anything, and to see this happening, it could be an issue where that happens again. So yeah, I think they're nervous, but here at Sanctuary of Hope, we're just trying to keep them focused. And if you want the best way, I would say, for them to be employed is get on Indeed, get on these job sites, utilize the internet. If you the jobs that's out there right now that's really hiring are food delivery companies, grocery stores. You need to really be out there looking for these jobs that have immediate hire, because if you search for these jobs, you can have a job within hopefully like a couple of weeks, if possible, if well enough. So I would say definitely the web. Stay on top of Indeed, stay on top of Monster.com, and just look for these jobs that says immediate hiring. I guarantee you can get a job. So I would say, even though it is a crisis situation right now, still go in suited and booted. Go in ready to work, resumes, well groomed, dressed, and ready to impress. Because just because there's a crisis going on doesn't mean that the employer wouldn't want to have somebody responsible and job oriented in their facility. So treat it just as though this isn't happening and you're just looking for a regular job, because you got to be ready, man. Because if you go in just looking like Joe Schmo, the next guy that comes in and he's dressed to the nines, he'll get the job before you, just because they see his disposition and see that he's ready to work. This will be the perfect time to figure out what direction you want to go in your life, really start to sort out things about your life, and find out what you need to do to make yourself who you want to be in 2020 or 2021.
So my name is Briana Rivera, and I'm a program support associate and a housing navigator here at Sanctuary of Hope. COVID-19 has been really difficult, having to navigate, the system in housing, and also personally. Can start off with the personal part of it. I have had family friends that have been impacted by COVID-19, and it's been really difficult to kind of cope with it, that it's impacting a lot of people that are close to home, which just makes me think in the line of work it's very difficult for our houseless folks not having a roof over their head, or being able to quarantine and follow the guidelines that they have set for us for our safety. So as for, working and having to come across people every day, whether on the phone or out in public, it's been really difficult to try to navigate it, but I have been provided with a lot of resources here by Miss Kelly, and also LASA has gave us a lot of hope in trying to battle this COVID-19 with upcoming resources like availability in motels and hotels, and also the shelter programs at our local parks as well. So LASA is the Los Angeles Housing Authority, so they give us resources that we can give individuals that we serve, on top of just updating us on the current federal guidelines, and kind of try to help us navigate it. Organization trying to navigate it. As now they need resources, as in trying to find food, places that are going to give them their essentials, such as toilet paper, water. So we have definitely been getting a lot of questions on what resources we have towards food and just our basic day-to-day essentials, and then also being scared to find employment in the areas that are available right now. But as for housing right now, we just do the regular process right now. We try to speed it up. We already have a list of available housing. So it's just kind of being consistent. We advise them to be consistent, to keep their spirits up, and to not let the current circumstances unmotivate them. So as of right now, we're just focusing on them having employment and being able to find housing. Problems all over the phone right now due to the current circumstances with a lot of individual situations. They usually want their own individual housing due to being the fears of being in a shelter and being surrounded by so many people and having to go in and out all day. You know, you come in at a certain time, you leave at a certain time, and every person goes into different areas, you know, exposing themselves to different environments. My woke moment is keep your spirits high, stay positive, make sure to call your loved ones or anyone in your inner circle that's supportive with each other due to this quarantine, and also just staying healthy.
Yo, 1 2 1 2. All right, got me clear. Might sound nice. Check one. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Andre Thomas. I am the program coordinator for our interim housing and transitional housing here at Sanctuary of Hope. We've had to make lots of adjustments, but Bridge in particular, or interim housing in particular, we've made major adjustments to protect those who are a part of the program, and as well as our staff. Of course, you know, they have to come to work daily. They have to go home daily. So we've had to implement procedures with that as well. And so far, everyone has been complying. It was such a challenge initially with our participants at first because they really was not taking it too serious. A lot of it probably had to do with what news they were watching. We don't know exactly, but as time rolled on, participants became more involved into what we're doing and how we're going about their protection. So right now they're on board with everything. They're in compliance with everything that we've asked of them. Even though they're not allowed to go out, they do well. We've purchased board games for them. One participant actually even has a PlayStation, so they sit on the game, play PlayStations. We've even incorporated our therapists to, just go over some practices just to ease their minds during those hard times where they're unsure and uncertain. Things get a little rough and dealing with each other, being in such close quarters. They've really impressed me just with the way they are responding, or they are beginning to respond to the whole COVID-19. Although we're in the pandemic, we're continuing to work with youth and stabilizing their housing situation, employment, education, and all of those things that are to their stability moving forward in life. Bridge is really what the name says it is. It's a bridge from one location to the other. Usually when you crossing a bridge, you're going forward. So we really take that word as what it is. My woke moment will eventually come after the dust settles. At this point, I really don't get time to reflect on things. It's hands-on. It's, jump on in, handle your business, make the necessary adjustments as they come.
Thank you for listening to Woke Moment. For more information about our organization, please visit thesoh.org. Subscribe to us for a Woke Moment wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at @the_SOH_LA and on Facebook and Instagram at Sanctuary of Hope LA.
Wake up!